This is Grace, Miriam, and Ellen, and we are doing our presentation on HIV and AIDS through the years 2000 to 2004.
In the years 2000 and 2004, there were many medical breakthroughs globally. In the year 2000, the joint UN program on AIDS, the World Health Organization, and other global health groups announced a plan in which they would negotiate with pharmaceutical manufacturers to reduce the cost of HIV/AIDS drugs so that these drugs would be more readily accessible. Although these negotiations with the pharmaceutical manufacturers were not completed until 2007 by the Clinton Foundation, this was a big step in 2000. In 2002, the first rapid HIV diagnostic kit was approved by the Food and Drug Administration, which was a huge deal as this kit had an accuracy of 99.6%, and the results were received in only 20 minutes. In 2004, the FDA released a guidance packet which allowed high quality drugs to be available in developing countries under PEPFAR. This document was very important globally since low cost safe drugs were being made more accessible. Also in 2004, the FDA approved the use of oral fluid samples to detect HIV as a rapid test. Here there's a picture of how testing is usually done. In the year 2000, the Ryan White Care Act was reauthorized by the Congress. This is a federally funded program for people living with HIV and AIDS and was an important cultural moment, as this act resonated with people due to the positive role Ryan White played in the AIDS community. The first HIV Vaccine Awareness Day marked on May 18, 2001, and this helped in getting the word out about the importance of getting vaccinated, as well as recognizing people such as scientists and volunteers working together to find a vaccine. On October 15th, 2003, the first National Latino AIDS Awareness Day was celebrated, and this shed light on the Latino community living with AIDS. An HBO mini-film adaptation to the play Angels of America was made in 2003. Angels of America won a Pulitzer Prize, and the adaptation won many Golden Globes, Emmys, and GLAAD awards. There was a very positive reaction to the series as it captured many important issues related to HIV/AIDS.
So, a legal case that struck my interest was the Gruder versus Bollinger case of 2003, which basically stated that colleges and universities have a legitimate interest in promoting diversity. So, in 1997, Barbara Gruder was a white resident of Michigan. She applied for admission to the University of Michigan Law School. She applied with a 3.8 undergraduate GPA and an LSAT score of 161. She was denied admission, and the law school admits that it does use race as a factor in making admissions decisions because it serves a compelling interest in achieving diversity among its student bodies. And the question at stake is, does the University of Michigan's law school's use of racial preference in student admissions violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment or Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964? And the Supreme Court decided that the law school and other schools around the country have a right to use race as a admissions decision for their schools. This is really important in concerning AIDS because especially in medical schools and law schools as well, administering children of color, students of color, provides advocacy for people of color who are diagnosed with HIV and AIDS, and having more people of color in the medical field helps protect those and provide advocacy for people of color as well.
The year 2000 was the end of the Democratic Clinton presidency, and 2000 was the beginning of the Republican Bush presidency. Clinton established the Clinton HIV and AIDS Initiative in 2002 to address the treatment gaps that come from discrimination. He did this by negotiating prices for antiviral treatment and working with governments to improve the national healthcare systems in charge of distributing these medications. Also on May 10th of 2000, President Clinton issued an executive order to assist developing countries in HIV and AIDS treatment. Bush's response to the AIDS Foundation of Chicago during the presidential race was, quote, conquering the HIV and AIDS epidemic will be a priority of a Bush White House. With an enemy as merciless as this disease, it will take all of our hearts, minds, and strength to find a cure. In 2002, Spain held the 14th International AIDS Conference on Knowledge and Commitment, which addressed the continued threat of HIV and AIDS, the lack of a vaccine, therapies, and life expectancy. Attendees were determined to hold political leaders accountable for their promises. In 2003, Bush launched the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, known as PEPFAR, to address the global health crisis of the HIV and AIDS epidemic, which provided $80 billion for funding treatment, prevention, and research, and was the largest global health program focused on one disease in history. It is still a cornerstone of U.S. global health efforts. Since its start, it has provided antiviral treatment for more than 5.1 million people. Bush helped implement these programs worldwide, specifically in 15 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. The U.S. Agency for International Development is responsible for following the guidance of the Secretary of State and helped implement the PEPFAR programs in about 100 countries through direct work and 50 countries through different regional programs. The CDC's Global AIDS program, founded in 2000, then used PEPFAR to work with doctors and scientists in 29 countries who receive PEPFAR benefits and assist with the prevention, treatment, and care for HIV and AIDS patients. In 2004, Bangkok, Thailand held the 15th International AIDS Conference on Access for All. This was the first time this conference was held in Southeast Asia and focused on new AIDS medicines, equal access to AIDS treatments for HIV-positive mothers and children, and how to ramp up testing and antiviral drug distribution. In 2000, a Latino Positivo media source in all Spanish was created through AIDS Project Los Angeles about health news and educational topics regarding the Latina community living with HIV and AIDS. Between 2000 and 2001, funds were given to implement an HIV and AIDS specific mental health program in New York, called the Village Care of New York, that focused on wellness and combined traditional and non-traditional methods of mental health. Between 2001 and 2002, a program in Washington, D.C. was created called Creating Online Communities, Support, Resource, and Information for HIV-Positive Youth, which was an initiative to create a safe and effective website to provide these youth with information on HIV testing and counseling, HIV drug treatment, self-care, and mental and emotional needs. In 2002, the Massachusetts Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals created a program to help people living with AIDS maintain their health and enhance the overall quality of life through a relationship with their companion animals. Between 2002 and 2003, the Sexual Information and Education Council of the U.S. created their program entitled On the Right Track to incorporate HIV prevention and sex education as key parts of programs implemented across the country. This money went to a training program for professionals to better educate youth and provide ongoing support through information and skill training. Between 2003 and 2004, funds were given to support the Systems Integration Dissemination Initiative in Seattle, Washington, to help support those living with HIV and AIDS who are homeless and have a history of mental illness.